Greetings, I am Liz and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together.
Ha 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 ha.
We are back and I'm really enjoying this game, so every time we get to sit down and do a few episodes, I'm like, oh, we're gonna play.
Yeah, honestly,
nice.
This is it's nice to play games you just want to play.
It's true.
It really is. It hadn't been intentional, but Gregg seemed impressed.
We'd better get going, Trixie. I don't want to hang around here any longer.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
I love the box heads. It's so good.
No, they're so ridiculous. Before I could run, something stopped me. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Delilah's strange mask lying on the dirty alley floor. Shakily, I looked around. Delilah Moonbeam was nowhere to be seen. The mask seemed to stare at me through its single empty eye socket. Oh God. Memories of a masquerade in the Imperial Palace filled my mind. I shuddered. Was I really considering taking this strange thing?
You were taking
it.
I think you just took it.
I think that is I took it.
I think that was was I considering taking it? It's already in your hands.
Yeah.
Oh.
Was I really considering?
Because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I took the mask. Timidly, I picked up the mask. It was made of a fine china, intricately inlaid with jewels and gold.
I'm really sorry it got dropped on the ground. I hope it didn't damage it.
No. Oh God. Me and the mask stared into each other's eyes for some time. Yeah, when I was a kid, it was really interesting to have like porcelain dolls. So I vaguely, very honestly, very briefly and very vaguely got involved with collecting like porcelain dolls with my grandma. But that was tiny and very brief and very lightly discussed.
Right, yeah, my grandma collected porcelain dolls too. I think it was probably a generational thing.
I think it was. Was it strange or just like...
And you just have these dolls.
Yeah.
And they all just stand around.
I never found them to be creepy. I just found it to be like strange behavior. Like, why do you want to collect dolls?
Why do you have them? Now, there were... So, like, a lot of the ones that I saw that were collected, segue for a second, were really not very interesting to me, like, visually. On the other hand, one of my art teachers when I was a kid, volunteer community member kind of thing, my mom's friend who painted, you know, not like a professional art teacher, though she did teach me art.
Okay.
I say, she taught me oil painting. Anyway.
Nice.
She had like some really fancy doll collector magazines with like your hand sculpts and your original one-of-a-kind dolls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And those dolls, some of them looked crazy interesting, and I thought they were cool. And she actually owned a couple. But in general, every grandmother's house that I went to with porcelain dolls didn't have any interesting ones. A lot of them just looked like they had the exact same face and just a slightly different variation of this one sort of froopy, ruffly dress and these, curly hair.
I was gonna say curly hair. Sometimes you had variety in the eye colors for sure. I mean, it was decidedly with the eye colors.
But they do have the round face and little like Cupid's bow lips, and then they have, you know, your shiny eyes that either blink or don't blink, and then they definitely have curly hair of some nature.
Yeah.
And then they have this basically sort of either pseudo-Victorian or frilly child's dress.
Yeah.
Where
which
it's just,
was
largely... it's got like lace on it, and it's got like ruffles on it, and it's got, you know, it's bunched. Yep. Like
I never
all that doll. And you could totally tell them apart. And they were, you know, made with completely
You could tell them apart in the way that you could tell apart an anime character.
Right.
You know, because their hair was all different and their clothes were different.
Right, and they had different color hair and clothes and all that, and different color eyes, but then different color, sometimes a little bit of different skin color.
Yeah.
So they were all white people.
Oh, well, they were deeply
super
white people.
I say, but the thing is it's just like they never were interesting at all, but the handmade individual ones, they were interesting looking.
I liked when they had, like, it wasn't really common, but you had some mildly different, like, hand poses. But remember, like, the cranking noise of, like, the porcelain when you would sort of move it and you would hear it shift against it? Like, I just remember hearing that noise. It was very distinctive to my brain.
I just like me and the mask staring into each other's eyes. You're just getting acquainted with the mask.
You
and the mask,
friends.
we're getting acquainted with each other.
Hello, we're friends now.
Hi. Hey, hurry up, in case they come back.
I jumped and stuffed the mask in my bag. I don't think Gregg saw it. Oh, sorry, coming! Oh, we hurried through the streets, eventually reaching the bakery where we could pull our disguises off and catch our breath. Hey, Gregg! I feel kind of shitty. We just committed a really mean crime.
Trixie, don't worry. It's better I have the book for a good reason than some bad guy getting hold of it, right? Delilah will be fine. We just spooked them a little. And you saw how much money they were asking for. They're obviously really super rich, right? When you say the seller is rich, you meant obviously rich, not I know they're rich.
Right.
Oops. Yeah. Somebody can be asking $10,000 for something and not have a dime to their name except that object.
It is actually, again, so we've actually had this discussion in regards to, like just ourselves. So we've had some people go, oh my God, you have some really nice stuff. And I'm like, yeah, because we spent a long time basically accumulating it, or we basically made careful purchases.
Yeah, just say,
I genuinely do not have money at all.
I say,
so I find it to be funny. People are like, oh my god, because like I have like a $500 like massive collector's item that is pretty hard to get a hold of.
But it's from a long time ago. And also it was I will save up and buy this weeaboo statue.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, and it is a heavy piece of thing. But it's just one of those. You would just go. Also, this only means something to me. It doesn't mean everything to every person who walks through the house.
Collectibles only have value to people who collect them. Like, period.
Oh, and
I like there's been this thing forever of people going, I have such and such first edition limited mint in the box with certified papers, this thing.
Right.
But at a yard sale, people would go, why is that $50? Even though it should be worth $100,000 to someone who knows what it is.
Right. There's also the thing to keep in mind is even if you go into somebody's house and you see that, for example, like, let's assume, you have a TV and you have several different, gaming consoles. Don't assume they have any money, because actually it's really easy to buy one secondhand and two, like, they could have had those things for years.
And they
so
buy
it was
like
really
one
funny.
every 3 or 4 years.
Right? So I don't mean to diss on this person, but I thought it was really funny. They came over to the place where we're living, and they just kind of were like, oh my god, you have all these things. How do you also, though, not have this other thing?
How do you not have VR?
And specifically right now, currently in the year of our Lord 2021, VR in my experience is just way too damn expensive. Plus it's also one thing that I don't really have any interest in playing. I have bad vision as it is. I don't want to add to my headaches,
But it was one of those things where like, oh my god.
You have all these things.
Wait, you have all these things and you don't have VR. We have VR in our house.
And I was kind of like,
yeah, we can't afford it. It's fine.
Well, and it was also like, I'm not interested. And also I've had these things for years. Like, I bought a lot of my systems secondhand, and when I've bought stuff before, I would.
But I really feel Trixie here going.
Yeah.
Just because someone's asking for a lot of money doesn't mean they have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And also, Trixie, I think, feels a little worse because of the mask.
I guess. As long as it's to save the bakery.
Of course. I'm sorry for making you feel bad.
Oh, no, it's okay. I always feel guilty.
About everything.
Even over silly things like being called Trixie. Oh, honey.
No, you feel guilty about your name.
You picked your name and you feel horrible about it.
Because, you're not allowed to have nice things.
I sighed.
That is... Okay, but like with everything else they've set up, that's a really valuable piece of narrative, and I like that inclusion.
It is.
I'm sorry that she feels that way, but also like that is a really valuable thing. There's so much. Okay, so in storytelling, there is so much character building that happens in tiny, small, bite-sized little moments, just like that. You don't need a long discourse. You don't need a tragic backstory. You don't need a big, here was this thing that I used to do and I'm not this thing anymore and I'm no longer the captain of the guard because I've been banished or whatever it is, right? All you need is short, tiny little inclusions in the relevant spaces of people's lives that describe what's going on. Like when we describe the patch, like when Trixie describes their hygiene habits, like the general noodly arms experience kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's it. We have a really clear picture of the anxious albino rat that she is. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. And that's really well done. I like it.
Yeah. Let's not get into that.
Thank you for your help, Trixie. I won't let you down.
I also, I kind of feel that, like, I haven't had a lot of it myself, but I do feel as a non-beanie person sort of going and watching other people also talk about their own experiences where they're like, I want to try other names, and them talking about basically their guilt of going, but I'm not allowed to have a different name, or going, I don't even really dislike my name, but I just want something else.
Or I want people to stop assuming my gender because of my name, because of a very gendered name.
Yeah.
I promise.
Gregg reached their arms out, offering me a hug. I accepted the hug, or declined the hug. I think you're a little bit vulnerable, and you might actually, because you've also gotten more along now in this case, especially with the build-up to the relationship, since Trixie has resisted before, I think there is not I'm giving in. It is I actually do want comfort. I think
it's a little of both. One, you've now asked for a second time. Mm-hmm. And two, I've just been through sort of a harrowing experience, so comfort is good. Uh-huh. And three, accepting the hug is kind of a passive move. So it's like I don't say no this time. Mm-hmm. You know?
Right. I accepted the hug.
But also going, I wasn't really opposed. It was just also I picture her accepting it sort of by not declining it, but because she doesn't, not want it that much.
Right. I let Gregg hug me.
Yep.
I think I forgot to actually hug them back.
Yep.
I guess I need more practice.
Thanks, Trixie.
Yep. That sure was a hug, all right. Gregg seemed amused by my awkwardness.
Right. I have a book to read. I need some coffee.
Gregg flicked through the book, their eyes flitting back and forth for the passage they needed. Between every page, they took another big sip of mocha. They must have refilled the cup about 8 times in less than half an hour.
Wow.
My stomach felt uneasy. I felt bad about the robbery, and even worse about Gregg's plan. And then I'm having anxiety about how much fucking coffee you're drinking.
I'm worried about your stomach and your bladder and your chemical state.
Your whole
All of
body.
it.
It's very important to me, please. I'm only a small mouse. I can only handle so much.
Anxious coffee drinking is making me anxious.
Success! I am filled with anxiety.
And again, we get a really clear picture of who Trixie is, and I really like that.
I knew they meant well, but in my mind I had seen the black stars hanging in the Hades, the white gates to the cosmos, the dread galleys of the imperial slavers. I knew there were things that shouldn't be meddled with. I shook my head. There was nothing to worry about. The book was probably a dud, a silly old storybook from a more superstitious time. I would soon learn this hope was in vain.
I was going to say, a silly old storybook from a superstitious time. And then suddenly Gregg goes, oh, look, it's real. And you go, oh, shit. That's what I was just waiting for.
You know, I really do have to say, like, I don't know what is, this is such a fucking charming story. I don't know if I can just, like, the pacing is really good, the characters are really good, the way the story is done, it's also, like, with the the fact that it's first-person perspective and it's only based really limited, it's very first-person limited on Trixie's experience, like, it's so...
And they've already specified what it is, so you're not just in Trixie's head, you're with Trixie recounting an event.
And Trixie going, oh, in hindsight, that was probably stupid.
Yeah,
like, you really appreciate sort of that thing, but it's also really clear up front what it is. So I've had sometimes people who will go, I was writing the story, and then suddenly they go, oh, yes, this was the story of whatever, and you're like, okay, that seems like a really weird thing because you haven't really established it very clearly up to that point that this was actually a story that I was writing after the fact.
Right, and both of us have really struggled with first-person perspective games, especially in reference to like visual novels, because a lot of them basically withhold information from the player to make the game interesting, which doesn't work if you're in the person's head who knows the information.
Right, and why they wouldn't be fucking thinking about it.
The convention here of going, we are with Trixie as she writes down a recount of the events she's been through, is really great because she's not telling absolutely everything she sees, thinks, and feels. She's writing down the crux of the events so she can give it to people while she needs more. And it's a really, really nice way to keep everything very clean and to have no questions as to why that wasn't included in the story. Also, she's trying to organize her thoughts into writing, which does more too. Anyway, it all works really well for me.
No, it's really good.
I found it! Calleth forth the Harvest Queen.
To thy
Harvest Queen. I can read. It's like a spell or something awesome. This is such a cool book.
I wanted to be glad for Gregg. They seemed to be enjoying the book, but I still felt uneasy about this. Cool, Gregg. They were so excited they didn't seem to notice I wasn't too keen on this. Gregg is lovely, but easily distracted.
It seems pretty simple. We just need to get some food we want, an effigy to the antler tree, and then just a drop of, a hair. We have all of those except the effigy.
We could make one out of, like, marzipan or something, right? Like you do for wedding cakes?
Yeah, we could go to North Acres and steal one. Wait, what? Wait, what?
Gregg sounds really either like blitzed out or going, I don't have marzipan.
Right.
Was that what?
They probably have loads.
Yeah, wait, what? Steal? Gregg, didn't you hear me? We can make one.
I guess. Yeah, I kind of wanted to go steal one, though.
Gregg, are you okay? Did Robbie Delilah put you into some kind of blood craze or something? What's with all the petty theft?
Be Gregg, do crimes.
Be Gregg, do crimes, yes. I tried to convince Gregg to stay and make a marzipan effigy. Told Gregg I didn't want to commit any more thefts, so would stay here and read the book that while they committed their crimes. Went with Gregg and committed a petty theft, accepting myself as the twisted criminal I am. I think as you're trying to, I think you're so that sounded much more aggressive than Trixie's ever been, so I'm really torn between the top option actually and the middle option.
Yeah. I was going to do that too, a little bit of going, I don't want to commit crimes with you, but I could
But I tried to convince Gregg doesn't sound like a successful. I think Trixie right now would try to convince. Doesn't mean that it will succeed.
Too. I don't expect it to succeed, but I think the answer's, like, the option is very clear in that way.
Right.
Of going, you're just going to try, and whatever happens, happens.
Right.
And whatever happened. What you did in the past was you tried to convince Gregg to stay.
Right. I think the thing is again, it has been the slow build up. You have been resistant as it's been getting up there, going, oh my god, we've been doing this thing. But it's like, I'm trying to convince Gregg.
She can stand up to things so long as she's hit her point.
Mm-hmm. Come on, you could totally make a kick-ass effigy out of your marzipan. No need to go all the way to Old North Acres, right?
Yeah. I guess maybe not.
Maybe, but
I kind of want to drive really fast all the way to North Acres and steal one. It would be fun, right?
Craig was seriously hyped up on caffeine and sugar, even by their standards.
Ah.
They looked like they might actually explode if they didn't go outside and commit a pointless petty theft. I was pretty weird, to be honest.
Looks like this is. Am I reading the emotion that you'll explode if you don't commit quite this?
Honestly, though, I love that. Like that is. I'm very charmed by it. I'm not as annoyed by that as I have been in other games where I'm just like, I am so peeved with the assumptions that all these characters make.
So what I'm liking very much about this is while there is what you could call ridiculous nonsense in here, the whole sheep plot, the whole, extreme molding house, I'm just, gonna pass out in the heat immediately.
And again, I can detect your explosion levels, your
things like that.
Proximity to explosion.
It's all consistent, so it just feels like reasonable, even world building.
It is tonally appropriate.
Yes! And so it's not just these random things thrown in. I keep getting thrown off by otherwise serious visual novels, and especially otherwise serious Otome games, suddenly going, and weird, derpy, super nerd joke, and or, time-honored, completely unrelated joke.
Right.
And I'm going, why is that here? Or suddenly we're going to be a dork for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyway.
No, like I said, it's very tonally appropriate, and I appreciate that. It doesn't feel like it doesn't belong.
Nope, it feels like it goes right in. It works.
Alright, if it makes you happy. They're all rich all over there anyway, so it's basically a victimless crime, right?
And they all just have their marzipan, tree god effigies.
Yeah,
all of them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Oh.
Stayed behind anyway. I wanted to read the book. Went along and fun to might be fun to commit crimes. We stayed behind. I think Trixie is stay behind. Maybe not. Do you feel something different?
I think on some level going, they're so hyped up on sugar, I'm actually afraid.
I feel like I need to keep track of them.
Yeah, because has been those soft notes of, I am worried, what the fuck is up with Gregg?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, but you want to go do this, but also, again, I get that reluctance to go.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is also, again, you might be more inclined to agree with going along because now you've already backpedaled in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So both of these are really good options.
On the other hand, Trixie has also been really interested in all the arcane artifacts.
Oh, that's true.
And so I really wanted to read that book could be one, you could also be hyping yourself up towards it, of trying to redirect your interest and or your anxiety. Mm-hmm. Going, I feel like I should go with Gregg. I feel like I should keep track of Gregg, but I just really want to read that book,
I don't think Trixie is having as selfish. I get your point.
No, not selfish. You're redirecting the anxiety about Gregg into the enthusiasm to read the book.
I'm clearly not listening. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No. Like I said, these are both really good options, though.
Mm-hmm, they are. I kind of feel like Trixie's not a person of action, and that's what tips the scale for me.
Especially when I'm weak noodly arms. I've already done enough. Please help me. Okay, we'll stay behind.
Because I'm going to crash if I don't.
Because I am really curious about both these options.
Me
God
too.
damn it. This is a really good story. I get kind of travel sick, which is actually a thing that Trixie has mentioned.
Yep.
And it's pretty late, so maybe you can go and I'll wait for you here.
Yeah, okay. I can drive faster by myself. Let's wait. No offense.
Before I could respond, they had grabbed their keys, donned their box, and sped away in their van.
They put the box head on. Foosh!
Oh, I hope they're okay. Oh, well, while Gregg's off committing caffeine-fueled minor crimes, I may as well read this creepy book. The book was pretty huge. I just read the part about the spells Gregg wanted to cast. Oh. Notes of Ilaria de Vonenbar on the strange things of the world, 1789. Calleth forth to thy harvest queen. Listen here, all ye whomst hunger, for here beeth a spell that will aid thee in thy struggle. The mother of meat, our lady, thy antler tree, shall heal thee when thee perform thy ritual. Thy hungers be healed in her name. First ye needeth thine effigy, thine graven image of thy mother. In truth, she taketh the form of 1,000 writhing hops pitted with teeth, and looketh out into the world to 100 eyes. Thy form she showeth to us mortals is that of an ancient deer, talleth and slender.
Talleth is such a word.
Not a tall, just a talleth. A bush of hornsleys I this at her head. Create ye this image in thy hands and place it on thy stove or fire. Into the fire throwest thy food of thy choice, for this is what shall be provided for 3. And into thy fire throwest thine blood, as little as a drop, for this is thy mother's toll. Alloweth now the effigy to burn with the food and thy offering. In time thy gifts shall come. That sounded a lot more ominous than Gregg had let on. They hadn't mentioned a frickin' blood sacrifice!
It's true.
I decided to close the book. Part of me wanted to read more, but I knew in my current state memories of the King in Yellow still etched into my mind this book was best left alone. It wasn't long until Gregg returned with her stolen effigy.
Whoosh! I'm back! I have the effigy. I stole it! I stole it from a church.
Oh, nice book, Gregg, albeit entirely unnecessary. Gregg was double-checking the book, I guess making sure we had everything.
Those meanies at Crowbar Inc. will feel so silly for doubting, me, Gregg.
Gregg seemed to be crashing, unsurprising given the amount of extra sweet mocha they drank.
Ooh.
I took another look at the effigy. It was an elongated prehistoric deer skull carved from wood. Strips of dark fabric hung underneath it, and a confused mess of twigs stuck out from the skull.
Also, everyone just has these effigies.
They do.
Yep.
It was unsettling. Something about it felt deeply wrong, as if something evil looked out through its empty eye sockets. I shook it off. There were worse things out there than silly skull puppets.
Awesome. Cool.
They yawned, squeakily. Clearly, they were about to pass out.
We got everything we need. Though, maybe let's wait till tomorrow, or...
Gregg fell asleep. A poor thing! Good night, Gregg. I left them a note so they'd know I wasn't kidnapped and managed to get a taxi back to my place. That night, I dreamt of the basement on Daffodil Lane.
I'm also just like, you just left Gregg passed out on the floor, it's fine.
Did.
A little bit just like overwhelmed, going,
I'm so out of it. I was crumpled on the floor. Blood stained the fur on my side and covered my hands. Through blurry eyes, I could make out Nikita. She was saying something to me, but her voice was too muffled and distorted to make out. She seemed smug, so no change there. After a seemingly endless monologue, she threw her hand skyward, and with a flash of white light and a splash of cold cloud spray, a white gate opened at the far end of the room. The white gate to Carcosa. I shivered as the chill rolled off of Lake Halley. After giving me a last pitiful look, Nikita stepped through the gate, leaving me alone in the cold basement. For a moment, nothing happened. A strange calm came over me. This wonderful solitude was cut short. From the white gate emerged the cloaked visage of the King in Yellow. The tattered rags billowed in the increasing wind, floating like the tentacles of some terrible deep-sea creature.
It's a mist cloak.
They stared ahead before peering down at me with a slow turn of their head, looking right at me, right into me. I blacked out, and when I awoke, I found myself elsewhere. Me and Gregg were running through a dark forest, and we seemed desperate to escape something. I tried to yell, "Why are we running?" to Gregg, but my voice was muffled and quiet. I glanced over my shoulder and regretted it. Towering above us some distance away was a dark figure as tall as the trees surrounding us. An elongated skull stared down at us with empty sockets, a bush of tangled horns piercing the dark sky. The antlered tree. Black mist emanated from it and crawled through the trees towards us with frightening speed. I yelled in fear and turned away. At least now I knew why me and Gregg were running. Gregg shouted, falling over a discarded coffee cup stuck in the dirt.
The dreams are amazing like this.
I spun around to make sure they were okay, but Gregg was pulled into the black mist and disappeared with a shriek. Beep. Not wanting to look, I turned back. The bakery's door was still far in the distance. My foot caught a root and I tripped, black mist devouring me. I plunged back into consciousness and awoke, screaming and shaking.
Okay. I love that. Plunged back into consciousness. Instead of like rose into consciousness. That's so good. I love that.
I fell down from wherever I was. Was up high.
Instead of rising up from the dream, you fall down from it.
Mm-hmm. My eyes darted around my room. I was alone. Everything was as it should be. I was as exhausted as ever, as was my life now. After last night's dream, I was more intent than ever to simply let my problems slip from my mind. I thought I'd better check on Gregg. Maybe they would want to perform their fucked up ritual today? After that dream, I was even more uneasy about the situation. They didn't message me back for a while.
Sugar. Too much sugar. Say your hangover. Staying in bed.
Oh, no. Have a nice rest. Poor Gregg. All those milkers last night must have come back with a vengeance. I sighed. With nothing to distract me, there was nothing else for it. I'd have to face up to Nikita. Right on cue, there was a knock on my door.
Trixie Glimmer, Smith, open up.
I gulped. Just what I needed. She was knocking pretty loud. Maybe she was planning to break in and kill me with whatever weapon she'd gotten a hold of today. I knew the knocking would attract unwanted attention if it continued. I couldn't bring more people into this mess. Nikita was my problem to deal with. I opened the door, accepting my fate.
Trixie, have you seen my cardigan anywhere? As much as I loathe to admit it,
You've been to Daffodil Lane, haven't you, Nikita?
I
could tell she had. She kept sniffing as if she was dealing with some allergies. Something seemed to click in her, as if she only just remembered what she had been doing all night. Had she totally forgotten about our fight?
Well, you might think that, but I couldn't possibly comment. Hey, you think you're pretty smart, don't you, Trixie? But no, I wasn't there. Idiot.
Look, Nikita, I'm going to stop you. I won't let you hurt yourself. And more importantly, possibly me.
Oh, Trixie, you're far too late for that. I already have the exact position of the intersection between our world and the White Gate. The book, Reaching Other Worlds, was most illuminating.
Row. Row your boat, because R-O-W, Reaching Other Worlds.
Row. Yeah.
Row. Haha.
The midpoint between the three standing stones is in this country. The cottage on Daffodil Lane. I need only bide my time and wait. And then the throne will be mine.
Oh, wait for what?
Silent threats. I have always said too much. Suffice it to say, my ideals have been vindicated, while you got the ghost hentai I studied in the library. Your fate is of your own making, Trixie. Maybe you should just accept that I've won. I will sit on the throne, not you.
But I don't want to sit on the throne. Nikita, you need to. You're not making sense.
Silence! Silence! You've read what I have. You know what I speak is gospel. And the throne is mine. Boom!
I suppose she gotta go fast.
It seems like she gotta go fast.
She took off, running back to wherever she came from. Not being hugely athletic, she seemed to run out of breath before the end of the hallway, where she slinked off, panting. At least this had confirmed it. Nikita had a plan. I signed, realizing it was... I sighed, I think is what it's supposed to be, not signed.
It's okay.
It's okay. I realizing it was up to me to stop her. What was it Nikita had said about Daffodil Lane? It said at the midpoint of the three standing stones? Was that true? It didn't sound at all right. I checked on a map on my wall. The center point of the three standing stones was nowhere near Daffodil Lane. Heck, Daffodil Lane didn't even fall in the area between them. The midpoint was the lake. Surely someone as smart as Nikita should know that. She was bluffing. She must have been. Or maybe she meant some other standing stones. I didn't bother considering that she might have been wrong. She wasn't. She was me wrong. She wasn't. She was Nikita. She can't be. She was smarter than me. She knew what she was talking about.
She did.
I think all I could do was try to keep up with her or give up. I didn't have long. Nikita had said herself that all she needed to do was wait and what? I realized I had no idea what she planned to do with this information. She had mentioned the library. Of course, Nikita was always in the library, so that was no surprise, but perhaps there was a way to stop her, hidden in its thousands of books. It might be my only chance. I had to read the books.
I had to read books.
To read books!
Right, time to... Are you ready to read books?
Oh God, I rushed straight to the library. There was no time to lose. It was always shut early on a weekend. I quickly went through the shelves I thought might be relevant. Myths, local history, literature. I wanted to find the book Nikita had mentioned, Reaching Other Worlds. I'd never heard of it before, but it sounded like it would be of use to me. Reaching Another World was Nikita's aim. After all, I found the shelf it should have been on, and there was nothing. Nikita must have come here first and taken it so they couldn't find out how to stop her. I panicked. If she was actively trying to stop me, there was nothing I could do. Nikita was smarter than me and driven like one possessed by her obsession with that cursed play.
She came here to stop me from stopping her. So she stopped me to stop me stopping her.
You said a little yeah, it's true. Yes. It's like you said a little rambling going, ah! My eyes remained locked on the spot the book should have been, and I felt my body grow numb. Was it too late? I could see her, even now in my thoughts, the book ablaze as Nikita continued with her evil plotting. The gnarled hand of the king guiding her to the decaying imperial palace of Carcosa and the broken throne.
I have to say, I love this cityscape.
Uh-huh.
It is a soft, abstract, it gives such an impression of a very, very clear world. And I love it.
It's really neat. I wish, though, my impression of it wasn't to go, that looks like a lovely place. Because I'm so used to, like, the beautiful sprawling spirals and whatever else just being lovely and, you know, nice.
A
it's
really
the gold.
cool-ass, beautiful city.
The
city of gold.
Wish, like, the eye is intimidating, like, tonally for me. But, like, the city is not.
I find it interesting. See, the thing is I find it interesting that the art is extremely pretty for the city and very compelling and does look shining and beautiful. But they make sure you know it's not gold, it's yellow.
Yes.
And I think
it's not the king in gold.
It's the king in yellow. And yellow is very much associated with, you know, sickness and, you know, plague and, you know, all kinds of nasty things. And also just this sort of
a warning and caution.
Miasma and also caution and warning and all that. And I just think the city looks super fucking cool. And I feel like the closer you get to it, the more uncomfortable it would be.
Yes,
I can hear. I think it looking beautiful makes perfect sense.
Yes, because it is supposed to be, I think, alluring. It's supposed to drive you mad. So you start out going, oh, that thing is really interesting, and then the closer you get, it starts driving you crazy.
Yep.
So, and the broken throne, I realised I was crying.
Oh no, but Trixie's gonna have to cry more in the next one.
I know, sadly.
Poor thing.
So I will see you in the next one. If you like what we do, or what I'm doing, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Save me from the King in Yellow. Please, I'm having kind of a breakdown here. I don't know what to do. I don't have many thoughts left. I don't have many thinkies. It's really hard to do the big thing. So
just check the links.
Yeah, check the links. It'd be really great to see you on one of those. There's a Ko-Fi and there's a Patreon. I suppose we're really poor, so it'd be really great to help out with the not being poor thing. Or, you know, no
buy us
obligations.
cakes or something.
Yeah, buy us cakes, buy us Ko-Fis. Or keep us alive.
We want to drink coffee.
Coffee, we could do it. We got it. We've got games we want to play. We've tried to save our computer. That was a big goal too. So thank you very much for joining me, everybody. I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you.
Bye!